spring product update. This is new ground for GreatSoft. I think it's our first webinar as a team. We have done individual webinars, but this is our first one together. So we're quite excited to explore this new format. Yeah, we'll be covering a few of the products. And yeah, we'll welcome everyone along the way. Cool. Before we begin, we will be recording this. We'll make it available on our YouTube channel as well. We'll share the link with everyone afterwards. And otherwise, you can always go and find our YouTube channel, GreatSoft, and just go and watch all our previous webinar videos there as well. We'll be doing a Q&A throughout the webinar. So you guys are welcome to post questions in the Q&A section of the webinar. We'll try answer these along the way. Any that we can't answer along the way, we'll just contact you afterwards, give you any more further details. We've always got someone that will be able to get hold of you and assist you any further. We're going to also be doing a couple of polls and a survey at the end, so please feel free to participate. The feedback we gain is very valuable, and it does help us sort of guide on what we should do, what you guys need, you know, what's important to you, and you know, at this point in time. So please give us our feedback, or your feedback, sorry, and yeah, we take that, yeah, and we use that. Thanks. Cool. So the journey for today, we will be starting off with myself, Bradley Miller. If for those of you that don't know me, I've been consultant at GreatSoft for a while. I've been working here, I think, for actually, I missed my 13-year anniversary at GreatSoft. So this month I've been here 13 years. And yeah, I'm now in the product team. I'm sort of running with the product for practice management and planner and all the good things in GreatSoft. After myself, we'll move over to Pierre Skeepers. He heads up product management for the payroll, for GreatSoft payroll. He'll give you his overview, his little bio of himself once he gets there as well. Once we're done with Pierre, we'll move over to Sheldon Mayhew. He's also product manager, also been consultant for us. He's now product manager for the secretarial product, and he'll take you through that. And directly after that, we'll move on to Sean Minard. He's head of our consultants, team lead of consultants. He's joining us to demo and talk about the CDM product for us. And again, he'll give us more information around there. Cool. All right, so that's the order of events for today. Where are we at? 9:05. Attendees look good. Yeah, so I'm going to kick it off. I'm going to start off with the practice management side of things. The agenda for today, I'm going to go through timesheets. We're going to go through a couple of things through the timesheets, the new calendar cell timesheet capture. We're going to go through the widget. We're going to go through making use of Planner and how we can use the Planner time. We're going to do a quick demo of the timer feature that we have and the approvals quick view. The Planner, we'll go through a couple of the bulk updates. For those of you that know Planner, we'll go through the audit history. We'll look at the split Gantt view and the project stats as well of your Planner projects. If you haven't seen these products, you will get to see them briefly, obviously, when I go through these couple of new features. And again, if there's any questions or any information, more further information that you need along the way, just shout for one of us, contact your account managers afterwards, contact your consultants that helped you with your setup, or even our support team. So we do have quite a big safety net if anyone's got any questions. I'll then also move on to our billing wizard for doing open item fees. And I do also want to highlight our custom narrations as well. And then we'll go over to the disbursements, bulk capturing and importing as well. So this is my little bit of agenda. The other guys will obviously have information relevant to their products. The idea behind this as well was, you know, we do release a lot of features along the way, some big ones, some little ones. We send out release notes with each update. We try and do the updates monthly. However, not everything sort of comes across, and you know, with it being new and maybe you're not using that section of GreatSoft or that module of GreatSoft, it's not always relevant to you at that point in time. So we really want to highlight these new features, and depending on how things go, we want to possibly do more of these in the future as well, so that we can keep our clients on the same page. All right, so that's my agenda. The way I like working, I like demoing, I like showing So I'm going to run through the demo of all my my sections. So yeah, let's kick that off now. All right. So let's go back to timesheet capturing. Okay. So obviously the basis of the practice side is keeping your WIP accurate and keeping your timekeeping accurate, making sure you can record and recover all the time that your staff are spending. So we always strive to make timesheet keeping as simple as possible. So along the way, we've always had quite an accurate timekeeping module. And we've now expanded this to something a little bit more modern in terms of what we're naming calendar style timesheets. One step backwards, what I realized, you can turn this on and off in your profile. So under your little setting cogs, if you go to your profile, you can come here, and over here, you've got this enable calendar style timesheet. So you'll see mine is set. Yes, I can also choose my working hours. That just assists you to make the calendar a bit more accurate to your working hours. And then you've also got your default view for calendar. If you like viewing it daily, weekly, or monthly, we'll see that in a moment. Okay, so that's your profile settings that will relate to this. Once you turn that on and you come into your timesheets, you'll be presented with your normal timesheet capturing. And I'm going to go to this week's timesheet for September. I'm going to go and edit that one. And you'll see it looks a bit different once it loads up now. As with demos, for some reason, we're a little bit slow. Everything works before a demo, eh? I don't know if our internet's a little bit slow. What's going on today? Let's just give it a moment, see if it comes back to life. Come on, work with me here, please. Let's just refresh this. All right, let's go back to that timesheet. Okay, don't know what that was. All right, so you'll see calendar style slightly different. Everyone working in Outlook will be quite familiar with this kind of view. So my default view was the month view. Like I say, you can also use a day view if you only want to see one day at a time, or you can go through to a month view and you can actually complete a whole month's of time together. Okay, so I'm going to stick with the week view. I think most guys are sort of related to a week view. And the capturing of the information is still consistent to the usual timesheet capturing users. We still require the same information. However, we now bring in the aspect of the time. Okay, so as an example, we can come through here. We can say 9 o'clock. I can double click there and this will open up a new capturing. I can say at 9 o'clock we did training, and I can say this is going to be 2 hours and we'll call it our product update webinar. All right, and you'll see the information we keep is still the same. However, we've got the time aspect and we've now got this in a nice calendar view. This does bring a lot more possibilities compared to the previous timesheet capturing. As example, I can highlight and I can Control-C to copy, and I can go to different days and I can paste on different days. So it does allow me to easily capture time. Other things like, let's just say this webinar goes over, we can always extend that to 3 hours without having to do too much editing. Like I say, if you're familiar with Outlook, this should be very familiar with everyone. And yeah, it makes it quite nice to actually do the capturing and also keep, when did this happen? Was it at midday? All those kind of things, where previously our time did not, or our time sheets was really all about the hours, not really about the time of day. It is backwards compatible. So if an approver is not using calendar style, they will still see your hours as per usual. So still quite nice that it's all backwards compatible and will work as per usual. So you can go ahead and also do multi-day capturing. So let's just say we did the 15th and the 16th. And let's just say we did, let's use 25 Link Road. And we maybe did salaries. We're going to items and salaries. Let's just use auditing, did management accounts, usual rates. So, for the guys doing timesheets, This is as per normal as it comes, but I can now put in 2 hours. Let's maybe call that from 12 o'clock, 2 hours on the 15th and the 16th. So you can also do multi-day capturing and all those kind of things. So quite nice and easy, very graphical, and everything else will stay as per usual. So yeah, that is calendar style timesheets in a nutshell. There's obviously a lot more behind it, but you know, this is really just to highlight it, just to spark your guys' interest. And yeah, it's there and ready to use if you guys want to use it as a firm. The other big advantage about calendar style, which we will get to as well with Planner, is there's a bar on the side here to display your plan time. So with your plan time, this is everything that's captured in Planner. We'll move on to Planner in a moment for those of you that haven't heard about it yet, but I think we have been pushing it a lot, so I'm hoping you guys have heard about it. But these are the plan times are quickly captured. So let's just say I want to capture my prep time that I did yesterday for my webinar. I can easily just come here. I can click prep time. It'll immediately say, okay, you know what, this was for the 14th yesterday at 8 o'clock. And I can go and say I put in my hour of prep and I want to complete my job as well. So directly from here, I can actually complete my job in Planner as well as capture my time. So again, we'll go over to our Planner in a moment, but you can see how beneficial it is to use Planner and the calendar style hand in hand. You'll see we've got 1 hours now. So we were supposed to do 1 hour. We've done a 1 hour. We've also completed our job that we were supposed to have done. All right. So, okay, I see thanks, Sheldon. I see a question just came in. I will answer it now. We will, it's always awkward on when to answer questions because we're in the frame of mind now. But on calendar style, you can capture as small units as you want. So you can go 0.1. The only drawback is what you will notice when I go 0.1, my calendar is currently set to half-an-hour intervals. So you'll see it looks like it's a half an hour, but if I hover over there, it's actually 0.01 of an hour. So it will, you can still go in and capture fractions of hours as you would like. The only thing that will happen is if I drag this, it's going to want to snap to half-an-hour increments. These settings are set up by the firm, so they are customizable for each firm. A lot of firms sometimes have restrictions where they don't like things smaller than 15-minute intervals and stuff like that. So this is customizable. All right, so that is the plan time. It's the calendar. The next thing on my agenda, sorry, it's a little bit small on my screen, so I might be squinting a little bit. Oh yes, I want to go into the calendar, the timesheet widget. So from any screen within GreatSoft, okay, this is if you're in the tax screen, the register screen, the CRM screen, any screen, you've always got the widget here at the top. So we've had this for a while, but I've always wondered, you know, how many guys have actually realized it's all available there. So from any section, you can always come in here and say, you know what, today, we're going to fill up today's time. So 11 o'clock, I'm maybe going to do non-chargeable time. And let's just call it admin work. And I'm going to catch up emails. Okay. And I can go and put an hour there. All right. So straight from any screen, I can quickly go and put time in. If I want to go see what time I've put in, I can come over to my view and I can actually go and see here on the 15th, I've put in my training, I've put in my admin, and I've put in my audit time as well. Okay. So that's the little view. So it's quite nice if you want to just snap and quickly see which days you've done things. You can go back in time. I haven't got a lot of history in here, so I'm just flicking around, but I'm not really finding anything. But you can go back in time and use that to quickly call up what time you did. So it's quite a nice little feature. Then we've got the timers, so that I wanted to speak about. I should have actually started this earlier, but let's just call it a webinar session. Okay, so we can give it a little bit of a description. And I can start my timer. All right, and I can leave that. So if I want as well, we can add a second timer. And maybe I was email replies. Okay, so very bad of me. I've been replying to emails during my training, and I'm also going to start that one off as well. So you can run multiple timers. What's also quite nice is you can have common timers, if you want to call that. So if you do filing a lot in the day, you can always just keep one open here and you can kind of start and stop it and just keep it going as you need. You can also kind of minimize these things if you want to get a little bit more space out of this. So you can leave those things going. When you minimize them, clicking on them will just pause them. So you can see these two are paused. We'll leave my webinar going. And while it's going, I'll come back to it in a moment. Okay, so let's let that timer run. Then the last guy on our widget is this right plan time. So directly from here, we saw on my calendar style, I had access to my plan time there. On my widget as well, I can come through here. And today for training, I've got 2 hours expected. I can just hit the plus button. It will go and pre-fill all my training time. Okay, so this was training for my personal clients for accounting 20. It'll put in my narration. I can always update that with further info. Oh, okay, sorry, it's always it's tricky typing when people are watching, eh? Okay, so we can go and put an hour in there. So let's just actually make it 1.5 hours. We can save that. So again, directly from our plan time, I've now captured in my training time directly from my jobs. Okay, so I'm hoping we all see the massive benefit about using that together. Let me just check here quickly. So we've got the timer, the planner time, the widget. Okay, so the next thing I want to cover on my little agenda was the approvals. Going hand in hand with this, we kind of realized approvals wasn't the easiest thing to do, which it should have been. So we've made a relatively small change, which has had a drastic effect on the way we approve time internally. So if I go to timesheet approvals, okay, for those that do approvals of timesheets, this might be familiar, some might never have seen this, but over here is all the timesheets that have been submitted. Previously, you would have got a big view of everyone's time, and you've only got a summary. Okay, so you've got your 4.5 chargeable hours, and you've got your 40 non-chargeable hours. If you ever wanted to go and actually see what this time was, you would have had to have gone edit to go into the timesheet. And by all means, you can still use this. It will go into the time, exactly the time that was captured. So here we see the time that was put in. And from here, you can still approve and reject the time as needed. But if you would, it was a bit time consuming going in and out and backwards and forwards the whole time. So a lot of time you just want to actually see what it was. So over here, if you click the view, you can see, okay, there was 2 hours on audit for 25 link and 2.5 hours for tax assessments. Cool, I'm happy with that. So that was what I was expecting, so I can approve that. And over here, this one was leave 40 hours. Oh yes, the admin person was on leave, and you can just tick that. So yeah, it just helps you not having to go into too much detail, especially when you're just doing a high level quick approval and you are expecting time to come in. This is a lot easier to go and review. However, the functionality still remains where you can actually edit and go directly in the time. So very small little feature, I think, but massive impact that I just want to highlight in case no one has sort of seen it yet. So use the view screen here, does make life a lot easier. All right, then let's go back to, I'm just going to my dashboard. It's just my most common page, but like I say, this widget is available from any page. So here by our timekeeping, we've put 4 minutes to this now. So I'm going to just expand this. I'm going to pause it and I'm going to save it. So when I save it, it immediately fills in my 0.07 hours, which if you do the maths, that's the 4 minutes that we've been waiting. And I'm going to go and save that timesheet. Okay, and that's time directly from my timer here. It's gone and pre-populated in that little description that I put in. So the idea being, you know, once you can always update that description, but the idea being is when you're starting something, you know, this was emails for Joe. Okay, excuse my spelling, but that was emails for Joe. So you know about this straight up, you can start the timer and do your work and then come back and save it. You don't have to remember. All right, so that's what I want to cover today about the timesheet keeping. I hope that sort of makes everyone a bit more comfortable with time. From there, I think we've spoken about Planner a few times, so I'm going to jump over to my Planner quickly. So if I go here to CRM Planner, I've prepped up a few things for today, obviously. It's not going to be a full detailed overview of Planner. Like I say, there is a webinar already. I've covered, I think, 2 webinars on Planner on our YouTube channel. If you want to go watch those to catch up a few more details. It's always interesting. I love watching them on my own time. It's so great to see how far the software has come in such a short time. So definitely go look at that. You will see the differences we do have between the time frames. So for Planner today, what I really wanted to highlight was a few features we have brought in. You know, we're constantly working on new features. So we'll be having another webinar pretty soon, I'm sure, on some new big features. But the one I want to cover today is something like bulk updates. So, we've got the ability to capture projects. I've captured a project for Spring Webinar. I've put in a couple of jobs. So you'll see, for instance, I did a bit of prep yesterday. We completed it, as we saw on the timesheet. So this guy was completed from that. Today, we've got Sean, we've got Sheldon, we've got myself, and we have Pierre. And then maybe tomorrow we'll doing a couple of follow-ups with our clients. So I've just did a little bit of a project and put a couple of jobs in place here that I'd like to keep track of. Okay, but let's just say something wants to change. So with the bulk updates, or before we had bulk updates, if you wanted to change anything here, you would have to possibly edit this and maybe change this to webinar and save that. And then you would have to go next one and update the next one and update. So it's really not too difficult, but we can always do things better. So we've added in bulk updates. You'll see there's a little shadow tick box here. As you start ticking them, you can start selecting and highlighting the guys. And this, I just want to update to webinar. Okay. And we can approve that. It's going to say you're going to update 4 items, job description to webinar, and I'm happy with that. Boom. Okay. So as you can imagine, a lot easier. If somebody wasn't able to attend our webinar, one of our internal training consultants, we could always just come in here, select our items, and we can change the employee. You can also clear out things. You can go and change the client, the tasks. So all the information that you're able to change on this screen, you can do in bulk as you start selecting them there. There's also some select all options, and even further, you can go into further jobs, further projects. So if I expand further projects, I can go across board here. Other good things about this is if you start doing things like, let me just deselect all of these quickly. If you start doing things like filtering on the left here, we've got filtering. So let's just say I'm going to go and filter for, sorry, misclick. If I go and filter for me, so I've got all my jobs here. I can literally just go and select all, and maybe I want to select all across here and across here. Okay. So I've now got all Bradley's jobs, and I'm deciding this work's not for me. I want to give this work to, let's give it to Blake. Okay, and I can go through and apply this. It will go and update everything to Blake. I'm not going to do this because I do want my jobs now to show you. So yeah, that is kind of the idea behind the bulk updates. It does make it quite easy. Yeah, I'm hoping that's going to help quite a lot to maintain the data within Planner now. We hope we did a good job at making it very easy to capture. So the capturing is pretty fast, but always the pain is coming to update the information, and we all want accurate information. So yeah, let me leave that one at that. Then further to that, the next feature I want to highlight on my agenda is we've now got the audit trail. Okay, so a lot of questions came up on who can actually update things. So security at this point is not too restrictive. We've got a couple of different security levels. Again, you can check the previous webinars on those details, but we haven't locked down security too much. We don't want to overcomplicate things until we really know the use cases. So with that, now we've brought in a audit history. So if we open up the project and we go through to the audit or the timeline here, so these little 3 dots, you'll now see over here that Bradley updated this job from web, or old value was training to webinar. Okay, you'll see there's a couple of them because I did update a couple. And if we keep going through the timeline, you'll see me preparing last minute, doing a couple of preparing. I changed a couple of the tasks just to get a bit more information and a bit more accurate stuff for demos. So yeah, you've got a full on audit timeline here. These were all the jobs that I created. You can see lastminute.com. I did this at 8:30 this morning. And there we go. Quite nice. We've got that nice trail. It does keep track of even, let's see if we can find one here. Yeah, it keeps track of all the changes. I haven't put any notes on. So if you don't go and put notes on, updated ABC, it will also track those notes and the attachment, all those kind of things. So it's got quite a nice audit trail of all the information that it's keeping track of. That's at a project level. So that's the whole project. But at the same time, you're still welcome to click on an actual job. It'll open up a job, and we've also got the timeline in the job here. So we can actually see over here that I updated the client earlier, and I also went and put in the completed over here at 9:13. Okay, so quite a nice little audit history there. Cool. The next thing on my agenda that I want to cover is the split Gantt. We're calling it like the split project view. So you'll notice over here, these are all like list of projects. We do have a Gantt view of all our projects as well here. So you'll see there's like a nice view where you can zoom out a little bit and see all your projects on the go. But what is quite handy is if I come here and I just filter on one project. The reason why I wanted to highlight this, it's quite small, but it's because it's so small that it gets quickly forgotten. So if you're going up, click on the spring webinar here for my list of projects, you'll see the page changes slightly. I now get the split view where I've got my list at the top and I've got my Gantt at the bottom. Okay. The idea behind that is, let's just say, okay, you know, tomorrow is going to be a bit busy. I just want to shift that out to Friday. Okay. So you can always use the Gantt here to go and expand it. You can drag and you know, extend the days. These two views are in sync. So as you update the one, each one will update. But yeah, depending if you want to drag and drop and visually see, you can visually see here below, or you can come here and add here. So, you know, generally using the ghost rows up here, it's a lot quicker to go and add the information, or you need to add the information up here, and then that will sync through and display here at the bottom. Okay, so quite a nice little feature. You can also expand this if you want. So you can just get the view of your Gantt, and vice versa. You can expand this if you just want the list view without the Gantt view. Okay. Then the other thing I wanted to highlight with Planner is if I go into a project, we do have these project stats. So if you go to the little table view here, there is sort of a little chart view as well. That's been there for a little while, so you can also look at it in charts. But I did want to just highlight this, for example. From this view, you've got a couple of what we call group bys. So if I group this by employee, we'll see Bradley's got 3 jobs, budgeted 7 hours. He's put in 2.5 hours already. Okay, so that came from those times that I captured on my widget and from my calendar timesheets. You can also then group this by days and weeks and months. The idea behind this is we've got quite a few clients that are using projects on a recurring basis, or they'll have like a monthly project or one long project that each month they do a couple of hours of that project. So in that sense, you can always bring in the time aspect here, and you can see from the month of September what was actually planned or what was planned and what actually happened. If you want to go down to day views, we've got it 14th, 15th, 16th as well if you want per day. And yeah, you can go around and play with these groupings. It does give you quite a nice bit of insight. The other one that I also quite like is by employee by status. So I can see here Bradley's got 1 job completed. He was supposed to spend 1 hour, he did 2.5, and then he's still got 2 pending jobs here that haven't been started. We also brought in project to date and live to date. Previously, this was live to date, which meant that if you are reusing tasks, these figures became very inaccurate. We now brought in project to date, which means that it will restrict your filtering to only your project dates. So this will only now show me actual times for September. All right. So that's just something to keep in mind. But that does mean you can run multiple projects on the same client task, and this will be accurate for that project. Okay. The other little quality of life change, we all love graphs in Excel. You can just export this directly to Excel. If I pop this open quickly, you will see, as we saw it on screen, you've got it here. And if you are very good in Excel, you can go ahead and pivot this, graph it, all those kind of good things. All right, so I see another question here. This does come up a few times. So can we use Planner without timekeeping? There's no reason why not. We got quite a few clients actually just using Planner for tracking all their jobs that are on the go. You don't have to bring in the time aspect. It does bring in a very nice dimension. So well, myself and GreatSoft, we've got quite big ambitions for Planner, but you know, with just the budgeted time, it does give you that tracking ability to go and see, you know, where your staff are at, where your capacities are at. you know, where you can still allocate time, and then to give your staff a to-do list, and they can still come in here. You can give your staff access here, and they can come into their board, and they can come into their projects and jobs. And as you saw, I just added a filter here for me. And these filters are my filters. So if somebody else comes in, it will be for Sheldon as an example, not for Bradley. But these are my jobs, and I can come in here and say, you know what, I've done my webinar today. I can complete this. I can also go here and attach my documents, communicate. So sorry, I'm turning into a planner demo here, but you can very well use this without that. And like I say, we've got big ambitions to bring through bulk billings and all those kind of things. So, you know, having all the dimensions, as in how much time you expected, how much time you actually spent, is valuable, but you don't have to have that. And then we'll get to the billings very soon, which gives you that extra dimension on, you know, what we actually recovered from all of this work. Okay, I think that's what I wanted to cover for Planner. Sorry, I'm stealing my colleague's time, so I'm going to have to rush along a little bit. The next guy on my agenda I want to cover is the billing wizard. All right. Any more further Planner questions? Like I said, get a hold of us, contact us. We gladly will assist you there. Okay, so over to our billings now. So this has always been an interesting one. GreatSoft has always had open item billing capabilities. Most of our clients just use the stock standard fees in terms of, let's pick on audit. Okay, you put in 100,000 WIP time, and you bill your 90,000, you write off your 10,000, you track your profit and loss using your fees and yeah, for your recoverabilities. We've always had I like this word, let's keep using it. I like the extra dimension of having the itemized WIP and how much of that itemized WIP we recovered. And that's what we refer to as open item fees. All right, so we've always had this ability, but it's been a bit slow and, you know, a little bit tricky. So we've revamped it a bit into what we're calling the billing wizard. And yeah, I'm hoping this revives it. A lot of firms have actually taken up with open item billing. You know, lockdown has done many things for the world. But you know, the accurate tracking of the actual recoverability of the staff's time is quite important for performance and things. So let me stop talking and show. So I'm going to pick on Harvey Investments client. So I'm going to go into my billings. I'm going to pick Harvey Investments. And at the top here on an open item fee, I've got the wizard. So if I go to the wizard, what will pop up is this new window. And this gives me all the itemized time that was captured for Harvey Investments. I do have my grouping that I prefer. So many firms have different ways that they do billing. So I'm going to drop off a couple of groupings here, and I'm just going to leave a task grouping. So if I just got a task grouping, I can see I've spent, or my staff have put in 155,000 time for audit, and there's 3,000 for tax. And I can bill directly from this. So even guys that don't want full open item billing, historically you had to go through, you had to select everything, you had to, it was quite, you know, quite time consuming, which is what steered a lot of users away. However, we can still get the benefit of open item billing without the complexity now. So if I want to bill a 50,000 audit fee, I no longer have to go through and actually select all of that time. I can still just put in my 50,000. I've got my auto adjust on, so it's going to write that off. You might not want that, so you can go and actually remove that. And let's just actually now take away that adjustment. But if you want to do that, what's so nice about this now, if I bring back the transaction grouping here quickly, you will actually go and see it has proportionalized my 50,000 fee to all my time. The other big benefit that we've brought in is, again, if you do that in a different method. We've been using the pro rata method all these years. We've now also brought in a FIFO and a LIFO. So what's nice about this is, especially on audits, is you want to bill possibly the time that has come in first. So we're going to use FIFO, and we're going to bill 50,000. Okay. And if I go in and I expand that now, okay. So it didn't apply because it just assumed that there was no change. So might have to look at that. Let me just redo that quickly. Let's just make it 60,000 so it will accept a change. And if I expand that out, what you will notice, bad example. Okay, I kind of made this up on the fly now. Let's just go in and put in 80,000. Okay. All right, so because we've gone in and actually done FIFO, you'll notice it's going to go first and bill off the time from 2016, and then the next timesheet from 2016, and it'll leave the remaining time. So with FIFO now, you can actually go ahead and bill your previous time first without having to worry about all the details behind the scenes. You still can come in here and say, you know what, we want to bill this timesheet. So you can just click the little plus button here and it'll immediately bill it. So there's quite a few little controls here. If you don't want to bill this person's time, if you actually want to find out whose time it was, you can always add the employee grouping. So that'll bring in MTS's time here. And if you want to write it off, you can write it off. So maybe we want to write that off. We don't want that time. We want to bill that time. So you can use these little plus controls, or you can go in and select and put in your total fee, allocate either in FIFO or in LIFO or pro rata. So you've got quite a few options here. They are security controlled. So again, depending on if firms prefer FIFO, LIFO, or pro rata, they can select this and set security up per user on who can do these kind of things. Okay, so let me just quickly tick everything and deallocate this because I've kind of gone crazy here. But let's just go ahead and do some time here. So let's go here, 1, 2, 3. Let's put this 72,000. I'm going to do a write-off and I'm going to do a FIFO allocation. Okay, so 72,000 for these 3 times, FIFO, LIFO, auto. Okay, let's apply that. And 72,000. Okay, and here it's gone in first. Feed that, and then remaining been written off to that. Okay, so that's the billing wizard. It does try and make this a lot easier. You do have your own abilities to filter and pivot the data as you wish. And once we proceed to the next screen, we'll get to our usual billing. Okay, so from here we can carry on and say our audit fee, we can put in our VAT, it will tell us how much is time, how much is adjustment. So all the billings that you guys are used to. The other big advantage about this is you can still add on a new line item. I can still go and bill Harvey Investments, and possibly I want to bill tax as well. I want to put in 1,000 Rand. But in this case, I didn't have any time for my open item allocation. So what it's going to tell me is it's going to tell me things aren't balancing here. If I try and finish this, it's not going to want to allow me. So let's just go here and call this tax fee. Okay, and it will come and tell me that things aren't balancing. Do you want to undo? No, I don't want to undo. I want this as an interim fee. So I can actually just go ahead and tick this. It will move it from invoice to interim, and it will then allow me to proceed and finish this. Okay, so there are scenarios where, you know, with again open item, you've got to generally allocate your fees to your physical time that's come in. Having the ability to do interim directly with this is just quite a big benefit, and making the billing a lot more simple. So next time you come in to bill Harvey Investments, we will actually have 1,000 credit of the interim fee that we've already billed, and that can be allocated later at a point in time when we actually have the timesheets coming in. All right, so in a nutshell, that again is the wizard. The next thing I wanted to cover was what we call custom narrations. So in this sense now, I've actually gone through and created 2 line items because one is audit and one is tax. So the way our billings work is we require 2 line items on the invoice to go and show that. However, maybe you don't want to show the client that, you just want to show them that there was a 73,000 Rand fee. So what you can do is you can come to the narrations on the top here, and you'll see on my settings, I've got it that it keeps my original narrations. Okay, so here I've still got them, and I can go and add further adjustments here. What I also want to show you is, again, under profile, we've got a profile setting here, depending on your preference. Right here at the bottom, we've got consolidate detail fee narrations to single line. I want to turn that on. Okay. So again, this is personal preference on how you do your billings. So it's under your profile. And what will happen now, if I go to my narrations, you'll see I'll just get a 1 line and I can just say this audit fee. Okay. So immediately it's going to just sum up my line items into a single one. However, if I still want, I can go and add on 2 or 3 or 4 or as many narrations as I want, as well as moving it around. So you can also go and customize it around here, those kind of things. What will happen if you do want to show things anything separate, so we just want to say 500 for admin or whatever you want to do here, it's going to tell you things don't balance, okay? Because now you've done too much billing to original fee, but that's easy to fix. You can just hit the little plus buttons that will reduce your 73 by your 500 to bring everything back in balance. If you want to show an extra 5,000 fee here for recoveries, okay, again, we're not in balance. I can just drop that off this amount, so everything's back in balance. All right, so yeah, you can use it to condense your invoicing, or you can use it to expand your invoicing, either one. Once I've finished that, you'll notice I've got 3 narrations up here at the top. And if I actually go through and I print my debtor invoice, you will notice those narrations come through. So one thing I just want to highlight for guys that do want to use this, you'll see there's my narrations that I've customized now. If you have got custom stationery and you do want to make use of this, you might just need to contact your account manager. We might need to just update your custom stationery just to bring through this information. It's a quick update. So yeah, let us know if you do want to use this and your current invoicing is not accommodating it. We can quickly fix that for you guys with your custom stationery. All right. I'm really going over my time, so let me jump over to the next guy that I want to highlight is our disbursement bulk capture. Sorry, not that one, that's the old one. So we've added in a disbursement bulk capture. So a lot of times you need to capture disbursements on behalf of other staff. So there might be an admin person that will capture this. And also there might be times where you've got disbursements coming in from an external system and you want to import it. Okay, so if you go here, we will do a new batch. And from here, you can immediately put in your dates, currencies, approvals, all those kind of things. And you can actually go ahead and start capturing for Bradley. We're going to go for Harvey. Why are they not coming up? Oh, it's Harley, sorry. Harley Investments. Maybe for that audit work, we want to capture faxes. Oh, that's a bad one. Let's just capture brochures. And let's put in a 1 brochure here. That's 300 Rand. Okay, and we can say, oops. Okay, so there you can go through and you can capture for many different staff. You can do chargeable, non-chargeable. You can go wild and you can capture on anyone's behalf and fill in as you need here. So I don't want to spend too much time on time capturing here, but you can go through and do all these kind of captures. You do have some options to repeat. You'll see each time I've had to sort of restart. If you turn the repeat on, what will happen as you start capturing anew, again, this is user preference if you prefer it, as you capture, it will just repeat this. The big benefit about that is if you're doing lots and lots of brochures for many different clients, you can just keep that consistent and you can actually just keep changing the client or possibly just keep changing the employee, things like that. So it's quite a quick capturing, does make things quite simple, and it is pretty fast compared to doing the usual disbursements. A lot of firms will actually have an employee that they log in as and capture against. So you can make use of this now where you don't have to log in as different employees anymore. The other big benefit is if I start a new batch, and let me just find my little webinar file here. So one step back, sorry. You can download the template over here. Once you've downloaded the template, you then present it with an Excel file. You can go in and then fill in your dates, your employees, your clients, quantities, all the information here. This is what's required. So this might be coming from a printing system. It might be coming from a login system. It might be something that you do every 6 months that you just keep a copy of and just update the values. But you can keep this template and just keep updating it. Then what you can do is you can come in here, create a new batch. You can drag and drop this guy on here. And what it's going to go and do is it's going to go and validate all the information on my spreadsheet. So I purposely put errors on my spreadsheet just to show you. If anything is invalid, it will highlight it in red. If I've got wrong rates, wrong allocations, wrong employees that don't exist, anything like that, you've got 2 options. You can open up the spreadsheet and you can fix it on the spreadsheet and just drag it back and re-import. Obviously, nothing's going to change because I didn't update the spreadsheet. that is the one way. The other way is you can say, oh, okay, that's supposed to be, let's say Brian. Okay, so I missed the 0, so it didn't match it. So I can just update that to Brian. He's got a different rate, so we put the rate in, and we're happy with that. I see this one had a missing allocation, so we can just fill in the allocation, and all's good. You can save that. Once we save it, you can tick it, submit it, approve it, post it, and it goes in as disbursements. All right, guys, I think I better stop. I'm hogging the session. If there's any questions, post it in the Q&A. I will be answering them along the way. You're welcome to contact me. You're welcome to contact your, your account managers and also ask more questions. Cool. I'm going to hand over to Pierre from Payroll. Thank you for listening to me. And yeah, over to you, Pierre.
Bradley, thanks some more for the introduction and for the show and tell on this. Let me just quickly do a screen grab so I can start sharing what I've got to show and tell.
Awesome.
There we go. Let's see if I can put the video on as well. There we go. Amazing. Right, Bradley, thanks for the introduction. My name is Pierre Skeppers. I'm the GreatSoft Payroll Product Manager. Similar with Bradley today, I've got an agenda to do, a quick introduction. Then I want to show and tell a little about what we've accomplished for this year about payroll and CRM integration. Also a little bit of a show and tell about our document storage facility that we have within the payroll system. And then last on the list will be leave management and how you could benefit from this. Right, what's new and improved on payroll due to our focus on bureaus.
Can I just cut you off there? Sorry, man. I think you haven't got your screen going.
The screen not sharing. Okay, let me try again.
I think it's still on my screen.
Sorry. Again.
There we go. That's much better.
Yeah, there it go now. Awesome. Thank you. Thanks, Bradley. Right, that's just the agenda, which I've briefly highlighted. I've got less than 20 minutes to go through this, so let's kick it off. New and improved, automated submission of the UIF declaration. Something that we've realized is that on a month-to-month basis and with UIF and employees trying to claim, if companies don't do the monthly declaration as it should, it's difficult for the employees to claim. And normally companies will have to backdate all of these items. So we have introduced an automated submission of the UIF declaration, meaning when your company goes from March to the month of April, it does a rollover, the system will automatically submit the declaration file to UIF. One of the big perks on this and one of the benefits and the many thanks that we've got is in our world of bureaus. So we've got a huge focus to get our system to work in a bureau environment better and better and streamline events for them. It is the especially this one, the declaration of submission of the UIF file. I think we've got a client that's doing around about 80 payrolls and they need to submit this 80 times in a month. So you can just imagine downloading a file, submitting a file, emailing a file, downloading a file, how long it takes. With this, it's automated. It's more than half a day to 6 hours off a day in every month that they can focus on other items. Then I did mention our focus is on bureaus. Since the beginning of our journey, we started with this, there was a big focus on how to set up a company properly. And I think that's one of the most complicated things when you work in a payroll environment is your company needs to set up before you can start even onboarding employees. So we did an 8-step process to set up a company, which will allow you to, in the whole setup process, to do anything from a complex setup, company with branches and departments and various different structures, to customizing some of the standard leave rules, all the way through to importing your employees. Either you add the employees as on a one-to-one level, or you can do a bulk import. We've done a quick test internally on our site, and you can have a whole company, a whole new client set up in less than 5 minutes, which is massive in the world of payroll. Bulk updates of employee information. Currently, the biannual submission is, I think the doors are opening for submissions around about tomorrow, when companies should start to submit their biannual submissions containing from the month of March to the month of August. Now, we know in the world of payroll, especially if you're dealing with clients, updating employee information takes a humongous amount of your time. the client submits you employee information from the beginning, containing the employee name, start date, and address, but missing is items like tax numbers and marital statuses, or whatever the case might be. So, and we all love to work with Excel, and that's the preferred method of communication between a payroll bureau and a client. In all of the research that I've done around this, the question is always asked, how do you communicate? How do you get your info from the client? And the information is always returned. Well, it gets sent by an Excel sheet. So the bulk update of employee information allows you then to export your current employee information into columns. All you do is you copy and paste your client's information that they've supplied to you throughout the year or for the submission period, copy and paste that into the relevant columns, and import the file again into payroll, and information gets updated in bulk that way. That alone saves a lot of time, and you don't have to go through an employee one by one anymore. As we live and strive to enrich your lives and make it a lot easier, this was also a very welcome feature from our current clients that we have in the world of payroll. Right, then step 2, GreatSoft payroll and CRM integration. This is something that we started off a couple of years ago, and we talked about, but how can payroll and CRM benefit each other? The one thing that we do have in common is payroll must have employees, CRM must have employees. Now, we did introduce a new employee take-on screen in the payroll. It's a 5-step process to allow you to load an employee. And the process always starts with HR. HR onboards an employee. The employee goes through strict conversations. Listen, who are you? Do you qualify for the job? And once the employee has passed those and the criteria required by the company, he gets employed by HR and relatively gets employed by HR first. So what we have done was sync that employee into CRM. Once you onboard an employee payroll, the employee also automatically gets synced into CRM. And whoever's then maintaining the employee from a CRM point of view can put it into the correct service lines, sub-service lines, and everything else that is applicable on that side. And the payroll can continue as usual. Now, what are the other benefits that we have introduced with the CRM integration? And that is leave and timesheet integration. GreatSoft payroll consists of having a leave management module, which is brilliantly set up and configured so that it can manage leave as per the Basic Employment Act, plus it can adhere to any company rules that is available on the payroll. So when an employee applies for leave and he passes the company criteria, they just give a sick note if it's taken off 2 days or more, or whatever other different rules is set up on the leave rule as per the company. On the approval of that application, the employee's timesheet automatically gets updated, and it's real-time updates. If the application should not have been made, and it's been cancelled from the payroll, it gets taken off, deleted again. The second feature we've also done was overtime in lieu of leave. Now, this one I know takes a long time to reconcile, and double entries are being done because you have to record it on the timesheet, then reconciliation is done, you go to payroll, and you need to update your current balances on an employee. So this one automatically feeds back from CRM back into payroll. When the timesheet is approved that the employee did work overtime, and it's overtime in lieu of leave, it feeds back into the payroll and increases the balance. So you don't have to do any more reconciliations, been approved on a timesheet, so it will get updated on a payroll. And then also the leave system has got detailed ordering of all events. How does it benefit you? It saves time. There's no more reconciliations to be done on this. And just to give you an idea, this year alone, we had over 8,900 leave applications made on payroll that successfully synced through to CRM to do the updates on that. Now, try to work that back into time of reconciliation with double entries made. I think the benefit speaks for itself. Also, it optimizes business process, reduces risk and bottlenecking. There's no more paperwork or anything of the sorts done. It's an automated system feature with real-time data, real-time reports. Along with the leave system is extensive range of reports, including a leave planner type of report, forecasting what will my leave balances be at certain days of times, what was it in the past, etc. And then obviously the leave management system on its own allows you to do proper workforce planning. Now, hopefully I can do a quick show and tell on this. So this is an employee called Andre, and Andre has done a couple of leave applications. You can see I do use him in a lot of my demos. One of the items that he has applied for is on the 12th. He did apply for leave, and I've logged in as a manager. I've got different ways to approve this. I'm just going to show you one of the options, and I'll show you a quick screen on what leave managers do use to approve items in bulk. All that the manager does is approve the item. The status will change to be approved. He clicks on OK. Once that's done, and I open Andre on my timesheet entries, you will see already there's 30 hours sitting there. And by opening up the actual timesheet, you will see the 8 hours has been captured for the Monday, 2 hours on a Tuesday, 8 hours, and 4 hours on the Friday. This is all now depending on the actual leave application that was made on this side on the day of the entry it was made. You will see if I just briefly go inside here, that will display the 8 hours as Andre did capture it. Now, instead of doing it this way around, I just want to show you, I'm not going to take you into too much detail of this. There's a leave management screen that's assigned to leave administrators where they can either bulk approve items or approve them one by one, look at it, look at the sick notes that's attached to it, etc., etc. Awesome feature, brilliant feature. And with the live integration from the payroll into CRM, there's no more reconciliations to be done by either parties. Right. Then another feature that we also introduced, which started off as a relatively small project. This got to do with document storage on the payroll system itself. Now, document storage is storing important documents, and because we're working with payroll, we're working with documents that an employee and a company needs to share. We've identified 3 different categories on this. It's personal documents, company documents, Rp5 Itca Tax Certificate. So that one, let's leave the best for last. Personal documents is documents that's shared by an employee and HR. You can also grant access to the employee's manager so that you can manage relative HR components of it. So an employee can upload documents here, as well as HR or managers that is used for. And what will you use personal documents for? This will be your important contracts, employee CV, driver's license, the employment contract. Once a year, if you're lucky enough, you get a salary increase. That increased documents get stored there, and the best part of it all is it's stored in the cloud next to the employee where he finds his payslip. Why do I say that? If I ask a question, do you know where's your employment contract right now? Well, it's on my email somewhere when I joined the company, I think, or it might be in my drawer somewhere. But if you ask me the question, where's your last payslip? Can you find your last payslip? Yes, I can. And if I can find my last payslip, I will be able to find every document that I need to have that my company needs to share with me. Right. Second one is company documents. Now, what is a company document? This is a typical type of document that a company will want to share with all their staff members. Samples of this will be leave policy. Again, those of you who works in HR or with leave or managers leave across the board, how many times do you get a question, what is our leave policy? Can we take leave in December? Can I use all my leave in March? What's the status on sick leave? If I take 2 days, must I supply a sick note? Is that there? Is that not there? So these are your typical company documents that a company will want to share with all of their staff members. Again, just in the sample that I've got here in the company share documents, I've got the company policy, which contains items like the fire drill, what's the leave policy, any contact numbers that an employee should be aware of. I might have a welcome pack. Welcome pack is specifically for new employees that join. They get a welcome pack, right there they go. They can simply download it from there. Any employment equity related reports, as well as something like your annual leave policy. Then the last one on the list that I love this, and our clients are loving this. This is your Rp5 Itca Tax Certificate. This is not the system's version of a tax certificate. This is the actual tax certificate as generated by EasyFile. Now, what we've done with this whole compact and whole feature was we made it easy. Again, our focus is on you, the client. We want to make things easy. We made it easy for you to distribute these things. Now, imagine in a payroll environment where you've got 50 documents, 50 employees. It's going to take you a long time to distribute each document to every single employee on a one-to-one basis. And you do get your staff members who do come to you and ask you for your documents. So what did we do to enrich your lives with this? we introduced a feature where you can add and manage your documents in bulk. So it's simply a selection of selecting your company. Now keep in mind, because we are multi-tenanted, you can also do the same feature for your clients or give your clients access to do the same feature internally for them. Then I'm going to access my Rp5 Itca Tax Certificates, and for the tax year 2020-2021, I want to upload those documents. And I've already prepped. This is something I think all of you have seen, everybody that had worked with an Rp5 before. These are the tax certificates that's generated by EasyFile. It's simply a matter of drag and drop. 43 files done, and if I click upload, the system will distribute those Rp5s between the employees. And this was a total of 54. This is obviously one that was a manual certificate that was added to EasyFile. That employee does not exist in the system and it will not upload it. And when I close this and I go back to my employee, Andre, notice it's 0, but after refreshing, I will have one document inside here containing his tax certificate. Now, for those of you, again, who works in the world of payroll bureaus, how long does it take you to distribute this documents or Rp5 certificates to your clients? It takes a long time. So yes, awesome system feature. Started off small, but our clients are really raving about this. They enjoy this feature a lot. Now, we did not just limit your documents to tax certificates. Think about when the company has done salary increases and they want to distribute the salary increase documents in bulk. So I'm selecting my company, I'm selecting the folder called personal documents, and inside here, I'm going to select one of the subfolders I created called increase letters. And I simply go to my folder where I've got all my employees. Notice the employee number starting in the beginning. Once again, a bulk file gets uploaded. Click on upload. The system distributed the documents accordingly to every single employee, and this employee could not found due to the employee number not being correct. So there's nice validations and everything else that happens to the system, and it will not give a document to an employee that it should not be allocated to. Right. Then something just to add on side here, as you can use it for yourselves, you can also use it in a payroll bureau world. We've got clients now. I did mention in the beginning, how do you talk to your clients in the bureau world? How do you get that secure information about who's a new employee with ID numbers, banking details, and all that things? How does a client give you that information? And the feedback is always, it comes in an Excel sheet. Right, great. Okay, so I've got the employee in the Excel sheet. I've got his bank details, his ID, I've got his address, I've got his wife's name, and all of those things with it. But the question always now comes, especially with Poppy coming in, is that a secure way of distributing it? So we do have payroll bureaus, clients working with other clients doing the payrolls for them, where they distribute the secure document with one of their staff members on the other side. So under the personal documents, remember, personal documents are assigned to an employee can upload. So if they grant the client access to access documents and personal documents, they use one of these subfolders to distribute that document now. And because it is a secure method of distribution, secure method of downloading, it passes all Poppy compliance rules, and you've got a complete history of items that has been uploaded up and down from the client to the bureau, from the bureau back to the client, etc. So there's a lot of creativity behind this. It started off as something small, but watch the space. I think this is going to be something huge in the world of payroll going forward. Great. Then leave management. This is also a matter that I did put inside here. Once again, leave management, it's complex. South Africa is one of the most complex leave legislative aspects than what we will have in the other country. If you think about the BCA, you must start off with 15 days if you work so many hours, etc. in a day. Then annually, if you've got sick leave, that's got your 30 days for 6 years. Now, trying to keep track of something like this, that's massive. Doing it for your clients as well, it's also a massive thing. But what we have found is that with our system, and then you could set up and manage your leave rules, not just for yourself, but you can also set up the same leave rules that your clients can enjoy the same features. So why would you want to do something like that? Is it expands your offerings that you can offer to a client. We'll do your payroll. You can manage your own leave. Why not? Why should you have to be the liable person to manage and control what another client's or how the leave rules are supposed to work for another client? I know we're not always familiar with other clients and other companies, but if they can give you those leave rules, you can set them up yourselves and add them as override rules on a current client. That client can then apply for leave. Their own managers can approve it. It's got nothing to do. You just produce a pay slip at the end of the day containing the employee's leave balance on as what the PCA states has to be adhered to a pay slip. Alternatively, apart from something like that, if you want to administer the client's leave, again, you can import leave taken in bulk from an Excel sheet. We love Excel. We all work with Excel. So if a client does apply with leave taken, that's a feature in the system. You can just import and the system will then automatically update the leave taken as per your client. So no more one-by-one capturing throughout the status, saving you time, giving you profitability on it. I think that will be run about it from me on the matter of payroll. Sheldon, I think I'm going to hand over to you. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks, Pierre. I really appreciate it. It was a very, very insightful section on payroll. And as a fellow GreatSoft employee, I can definitely say that having an online platform that gives you, as an employee, the ability to quickly just log into this portal and access your payroll documents, such as your payslip, or quickly apply leave. Apply for leave makes the world of a difference. Sorry, I'm just trying to find the right screen share here. Can you guys see my screen on that side, on the chat there? Just want to bring it over. Your screen share is being paused, and sorry guys, logistics, and resume share. Cool. Awesome. Bradley, you guys can see my screen there? Cool. So thanks, Pierre. It really does make a difference to be able to do that kind of thing. And I can see there's a lot of secretarial users pulling through in the chat. I'm really, really excited to get this webinar going today and show some of the awesome new features that we've recently brought into the system. The secretarial development team has been really working hard to try and improve the product as we move along. And for those of you who don't know who I am as yet, I think I've got a lot of people pulling through from the previous webinars that I had on secretarial. My name's Sheldon Mayu. I joined this GreatSoft secretarial team around about 2018. It's actually my 3rd year anniversary this month. So that's quite exciting as well. I started off as a consultant and I've made my move over to the product team more recently. I think it was April, around about there. And I thought for you guys to get to know me a little bit better, I'll just go ahead and share some key insights on me. So you can see that I'm passionate about product and I'm passionate about anything and everything marketing. I love a good cup of coffee, for those of you who know me well, and everything tech related as well. I'm also always eager to learn anything and everything new. I often find myself down the deep rabbit hole of YouTube, watching all kinds of videos. So that's me. I'm just going to quickly run through the agenda for today. We're going to look at what's new and improved within the system. And then I'm going to move over and focus on one of the bigger things that we've recently added to the product itself. And then we'll go ahead and have a look at GreatSoft Pyre, and then ask a lot of questions, answer a lot of questions around the confusion of Pyre and its relation to Poppy. So it's going to be really exciting as well. So just to give you guys a little bit of insight as to what we as the secretarial development team have been doing since the beginning of the year, that's 1 January up until today, actually 15 September, we've managed to look at about 248 items. So that's like new features, any bug fixes or any enhancements that we've made to existing features or existing utilities. And if you do the quick math, that's averaging on about 0.96 items a day, just shy of one. So for those of you who are familiar with the development cycles and the processes behind getting something into development, you'll see that that's actually quite impressive. Also, given the amount of resources we have available as a small secretarial team. So I'm really proud of the team. I know there's quite a few of them joining the webinar today, and I just wanted to give a shout out to them as well, because they do really give it their all to try and get things into the system. Cool. So out of those 248 items, I've just gone through of some of these new items that have come in the last 1 or 2 months. And there's 1 or 2 things that I want to highlight out of those items. There's a long list of items. And for those of you who want more detail on as to what those items are, you can go ahead and look at our previous release notes that we've sent out to you. So I've just gone ahead and got a short snippet of some of those items. We've more recently added the trustees and beneficiaries by trust report, which will then allow users to be able to report back on their specific trusts, trustees and beneficiaries as well. So that's something that's been missing for some time now, but we've managed to get that in. The same goes for trust types. So when you're working in a specific register for that trust, we've added the ability to allow you, the user, now to specify the specific trust type on the details tab of the register as well now. So that's where you will have the ability to quite easily go into the register, click on details, click on the drop down and select whether it's an inter vivos trust or discretionary trust. At this point in time, that feature has only been added for South Africa. But yeah, I think it's a very, very nice feature that we've added, small but nice. The same goes for the annual return duties status report. So this is something that I feel has been missing in the system for some time now. And the reason why I say that, because we've had the annual return search screen, we have the annual return listing report, but there wasn't really a report where I could go back and say, well, what is the historical information for my entities? Are all the annual returns up to date? Because obviously in South Africa, we know that if you haven't submitted the last 3 years annual returns, that company will then go into deregistration. So as a solution to this, me and the team have come up with the annual duty status report, and it's a very nice report. As you can see, it looks at the current year which you've selected, and then it goes 3 years back, and quite easily you can say, well, okay, I need to focus my attention on this client that's currently in deregistration, or we all up to standard on our annual returns. So it's a very nice report, and I think it makes the world of a difference by adding it to the system. And then another small change, I know a lot of you have been struggling with this for some time now, especially on those registers for the bigger corporates and those bigger registers where you got endless amounts of directors on them. We've recently added a director search bar to the top of the tab, which will allow you to basically search off the director's name, surname, ID number, as well as their client code as well. So that small little change has made the world of difference in terms of functionality within that within all our registers, really. And for those of you who want to make sure you don't miss any of these updates, please be sure to be on the lookout for our email notifications that do come out with each release. That brings me to my next item, which is CRM and register quick links. I know this is another massive change that we've recently brought into Secretarial, and it has, in my opinion, completely changed the way that users interact with our registers within the system. So I see there's 1 or 2 questions for QA. I think I'll leave those to the end of the session. and then I'll address those in our Q&A session towards the end. Cool. Thanks, Brad and Sean and the team, all working behind the scenes. So back to the CRM register and quick links. So we introduced these over 2 releases. So the register quick links we introduced in the 3.0 release, which I think was in June or July. I can't remember. These things come out so quickly. I tend to forget. And what that will give you, the user, as ability to do, it will give you the ability to quickly access the register as soon as you've captured the client within GreatSoft. So previously, for those of you who know the system quite well, you'd know you'd need to capture a client or a company or whatever the case may be, and then head over to register, set dashboard, register, and then look for your entity, and then only start working in the register. But with this functionality, let's say we've gone ahead and added 25 link row to the system today, and I just quickly want to access that register. So you'll know this is the screen that you're met with as soon as you save that company's or entity's details. And for those of you with a keen eye would have noticed that there's a new button on the far right, Open Register. So what that will do is, as soon as you've saved the entity and you click on Open Register, it will give you the functionality to immediately start working within that register without ever having to move away from any of these screens, which is pretty awesome, I think. So we've gone ahead and taken this one step further now, and we've brought in the other side of these quick links, and these are what we refer to as CRM quick links. So I'm just going to close this and move all the way to set dashboard, because this is how long it would have taken in the past. So we've got 1 click, 2 clicks on dashboard, 3 clicks on registers, 4 clicks on the search bar, 5 clicks on 25 link road, and then the 6th click on the entity itself. And then only then we'd have the register open. That's not even taking the loading screens into account. So what we've done now for these CRM quick links is we've given you the ability to capture public officers, directors, secretaries, any shareholders for allotments or transfers straight within the register. So if we quickly go ahead and look at the public officer screen and section, I can go ahead and flag an appointment date. I can go ahead and look for it. If the public officer isn't returned in the search results, I think you can now go ahead and say, well, okay, I want to add this new public officer. And there straight away, you can go ahead and add their first name, their surname, as well as their ID number with a click of a few buttons. Where previously you would have had to go out your register, perhaps you close it, then go into CRM, click on new, add the public officer, and then come and link it. The same goes for any shareholders in the allotment screen or within the transfer screen as well. We've also added that functionality there for you as a user. So you'll see you have the ability to add a new shareholder, and as soon as you click on it, you can decide, well, it's a company or whatever the shareholder entity type is. Cool. So I think that's a huge change that we've brought in, and it will drastically impact the way that you guys work in those registers on a day-to-day basis. And this change has been brought in for all the various register types within the system. So anyone that you see under this register type list here, any register for the various entity types, we've included that change. Cool. Then that brings me on to my next section of the session. Like I said, be on the lookout for those update mailers where you'll be able to see all of those new items in the release notes. We pride ourselves in those release notes. I know Brad and Pierre and my colleagues, we spend a lot of time prepping those and making sure that everything's included in those release notes for you guys. Then it brings me to our new product. It's pretty brand new. It was released a month ago in the August release, and the GreatSoft team together with the secretarial development team are very, very proud to have released our GreatSoft Hire module. Cool. So this is a new standalone module that is connected to secretarial and the rest of the CRM integrated. And we brought out this module in line with the POPI Act that came into effect as of 1 July. And we know that the PIRE Act itself has been around for some time now, but previously there was an exemption that exempted a lot of people to not need to capture a PIRE manual. So that exemption has now been further extended to December. But before we get all into that nitty-gritty detail, I thought I'd do a quick poll for us. And in the poll, I just want to get a general feeling of what the audience is feeling about PIRE as a service offering. And you guys will see there will be a quick poll that will launch up on your screens. And I've got 4 questions there. And it's basically like, I'm already offering the PIRE as a service. We want to look into it. We're not interested in offering it as a service at the moment. And then for my corporate clients, we have an option for you where you're a corporate company secretary, but you might be interested in perhaps having this functionality for your group and all the entities within your group. So I'm going to go ahead and launch that poll. And I'm not sure if you guys can see it on your screen there, and I'll just leave it running. So we have not at the moment taking the precedent. We have quite a few looking into it, and there's about 3 out of 24 already offering it, steadily increasing. I see about 34 out of the 96 have participated in the poll. Let's get those numbers up before I go ahead and end it. Cool, we're almost halfway. And I see there's quite a large amount of you who are considering offering this to your clients. And we're going to be doing a nice little case study on that scenario in just a couple of seconds. Just going to let that run out for a few more seconds. And then I'll go ahead and end the poll. Cool. Just letting the last few go ahead and participate. And I'm ending it. Thank you. I see there's quite a large portion of the group looking into it, and also about 1/3 that more or less that are already offering it as a solution. So interesting enough, those of you who are already offering it as a service to your clients, I'd like to know how you guys are going about it. Did you purchase perhaps you purchased a template from someone and you're just rolling out that template to all of your clients in Word and then keeping track of it in Excel? It'll be interesting to know around about that. And then those of you who are looking into it, what's preventing you from going into the service? Is it the logistics? Is it the uncertainty around the act itself? And the same goes for those of you who are not even considering to offer it as a service. I think there is a huge need for it, especially come 1 December. As Brad says, I think a lot of us will be looking into it lastminute.com. But it is something that I think we are obliged to as company secretarials, as it does form part of our compliance role with the Companies Act and any other acts that might govern companies. So it's quite an interesting one. So I've been doing a lot of market research, let's call it that, and we've had a lot of our account managers put their feelers out there to get a look and feel for what the market is responding to on PIRE. And one of the big questions that we normally get is, who must compile a PIRE manual and why must I compile a PIRE manual? So in short, who must compile a PIRE manual? It's literally everybody. So I know I previously hinted to the exemption, but yeah, there's a snippet out of the Act, and it makes it compulsory for every head of a private body to compile a manual and make the manual available, freely available, whether that be at the place of business or within that relevant entity's website. Cool. So this is a list of the bodies exempt until the 31st of December 2021, and it's a majority of our SMEs, together with sole proprietors, partnerships, political parties, and then any companies that fall in below those annual turnover brackets or number of employee brackets. So come 31 December, those exemptions will no longer be in place, and then the PIA Act will come fully in effect. Cool. So let's have a look at this in terms of day-to-day living, and let's have a look at this in terms of an actual case study, so we can put mind to matter here and see how this might pan out if this was something we were looking into, because I know there was a large portion of you that said you are. I've prepared a case study for us today. I know it's been a long webinar session, and I'm going to try and make this case study short and sweet. So we've got Pam Beasley, shout out to the Office fans, and Pam Beasley is the compliance manager at the firm, and she currently has a portfolio of more or less 1,500 clients. I think that's a good helping there. I know there's a lot of you out there with a lot more than that, and then there might be some of you that are on the lower spectrum of that. But she's been on 1 or 2 courses related to PIA and PIA. And since the PIA Act came into effect 1 July, she's had a few clients asking for clarity around the Act itself, and more specifically, its relation to PIA. Pam is very diligent, and she takes notes of these requests and is aware that since 1 July, the information regulator has taken over PIA from the South African Human Rights Commission, and also takes note that the deadline has been moved out to 31 December 2021, and thereafter no one is exempt. With all this in mind, Pam reaches out to the managing partner at the firm and proposes a new PIA manual service offering. The managing partner sees the potential for new and recurring revenue streams, and they both agree on a fixed fee of 850 Rand per manual. And we've done some research on this fee, and for those of you who have also done your research, you'll know that this is on the lower spectrum, because there's guys charging anywhere in the region from 2,000 Rand all the way up to 8,000 Rand per PIA manual. So that gives you an idea what the market's charging per manual. Pam then recognizes that creating, managing, and tracking these manuals in Word and Excel will become a tedious task and a time-consuming task in the same breath, and then she starts searching for a solution. So eventually Pam comes across GreatSoft, and I'll go into a little demo in just a second, but let's just take a step back and look at these numbers for potential revenue. Now, realistically, we know we'll never be able to reach 100% of her client base. That's very, very optimistic, to say the least. 50% is achievable if they really put the shoulder to the wheel and try and get that reach and try and formulate those discussions with her client base. But I think a realistic target for most of us would be 10% of that target base. And at 1,500 clients, that firm can generate about 130,000 Rand in new revenue, which they didn't have last year, which is quite mind-blowing if you think about it. So let's look at PIA in practice, and it's going to be a quick demo. There's not much really to it, but I'm just going to show you how to create the manual and then also how to track those manuals which you have already created. So for that, I'm going to head back to our demo site, and I'm going to go ahead and search for 25 Link Road. Sorry, I just need to change my filter. And it's in the register screen at this moment, and I can just click on PIA manual option there. So it is currently still in beta, and the reason why it's in beta because there's a lot of things still coming through with regards to the legislation and PIA and PIA. So we've included everything in the manual. So on the left here, you'll see all the information categories, as well as the PIA related information questions. How are you storing the information? Why are you storing it? Together with the security measures you guys are taking place, or that your client would be taking place to make sure that information doesn't get leaked. So quite easily, you can track when the letter was sent, when it was signed, and when it was submitted to the information regulator as well. And the nice thing about this is it's linked to your CRM. So you can say, well, okay, Bradley is my head of business, and then it will pull through all his details as well. You can also go ahead and then select and deselect the relevant things which are applicable to your client or your entity if you're in the corporate structure. And you'll see it automatically saves as well. So no need to go ahead and click save anymore. Long gone are those days. And then from there, we can just go ahead and generate our manual. As soon as we click on manual, it will then allow us to either export this into PDF or Word and then send it through to our clients. You can also then go ahead and store this on CDM if need be. And perhaps you needed to go ahead and make use of CDM to perhaps start doing bulk emailing marketing campaigns to reach out to that broad 1,500 client base of yours. And for a little bit more on that, my colleague Sean is going to go ahead into the details of CDM and how you can go about using CDM to target your clients in marketing campaigns, as well as how you can go about using it as a bulk document storage solution as well. Over to you, Sean.
Perfect. Thanks, Sheldon. Thanks for the nice introduction, and thanks for everyone for joining us today. So moving on from Sheldon's great secretarial presentation, we're going to be moving on to CDM. So firstly, inside the practice management world, we have many different modules within the GreatSoft system. Bradley showed off our billing, Pierre the payroll, and Sheldon the secretarial. So today we're going to be also going through the CDM system. So firstly, just as a little bit of an introduction, just get the slides ready. We're going to be going through the spring update. So what is a spring update? The spring update for us is with reference to all the new features coming into CDM, as well as the different projects and products within GreatSoft. So what we're going to be going through today is just some of the new features that have recently come in. This is referring to the client contact divisional security. So we're going to be spending a bit more time on that. I'm going to show you how that all works. We're also going to be going through the PDF comment box. So this is a few new features that we brought into the PDF, where we can actually specify certain signatures within the PDF itself. And this will then prompt the users to sign documents within CDM. Profile documents or manual upload. So we can actually upload documents now, and you can specify certain features within the documents as they get uploaded. So that's working really well. Few new ease of use features that we've introduced: bulk update from archive, staff divisional notifications, making sure that the different departments within the firm get notified as soon as something comes up. And then a refresher on some of the existing features within CDM. We have the Office plugins, which are great when using CDM in conjunction with the Office programs such as Word, Excel, Outlook. These features are not used very often, but they are very valuable when using the CDM system. We also have a document status, workflow, and custom views that I'm going to show off, as well as staff folder security. Also, just before we begin, a little bit about me. My name is Sean Minnar. I am the consulting team leader. I've been with GreatSoft for 5 years, and I've spent a lot of time with clients because you're doing training as well as setups and so on. And today we are going to show off a little bit more about CDM. So let me quickly just swap to our desktop. So here you should be seeing the GreatSoft website. And then from here, what I'd like to first show off is the client contact divisional security. Okay, what basically does that mean? So in essence, with regards to CDM, we have a connection between the CDM system and GreatSoft CRM. So here we can actually see the CDM system. You can see this is a separate system to the GreatSoft system, and CDM is used for document management. Okay, so what we do is within the GreatSoft system, we have full integration into CDM. This means that anything that you upload in the form of a document in the CRM section, the processing and tax and secretarial sections will automatically be pushed to and synced to the CDM system. Now, from the CDM system, you can do a lot more. So you can then share documents to certain clients. You can make sure that documents are managed. You can make comments and so on. So one thing that we have recently introduced is what we refer to as divisional security. Basically, what this means is when you navigate to your client and we take a look at the contacts on our client, take a look at our contacts here. So here, I'm just using an example of Rudolph, one of our senior consultants here at GreatSoft, and he's got two different contacts that are connected to him. Firstly, Sean, that's me. I've got multiple types associated with me. And then we've got Sheldon, the secretarial contact. So the system now automatically will pick up what kind of contact you've associated with Rudolph. So here we can see secretarial, or Sheldon. I can just click on Sheldon. It will therefore show he's the secretarial contact. And therefore, the system will pick up that he's the secretarial contact and only allow him access into the secretarial section within CDM. Okay, so what is the benefit of that? The benefit of that is that I can individually share documents with the tax-specific person without allowing maybe the secretarial contact to have access to those tax documents. So you can see here we have an example of myself at the top. I've got numbers as a contact type. Basically, what this does is it allows me to have full access inside the system, and then I also have a tax contact type, enabling me to see tax documents. Okay, so just to show this off, it all happens automatically as long as it's set up in the background. We can navigate within CDM and we can navigate to our clients. And we can see here Rudolph, and if I just expand him here, I can see that myself, I'm allocated as debtors as well as a numbers contact and a tax contact. You can see the division gets allocated automatically since I have a division of tax, and I can automatically get folder and read and write access. Okay, so this is all done within the GreatSoft system. We have full integration, so this allows you to happen seamlessly and make it very easy for you to allocate contacts and clients to your database of entities. Okay, yeah, we can also see Sheldon. He's been allocated to the secretarial division since he is a sec contact. So what does that enable? If we navigate within CDM to our clients, and we navigate to our provisional folder here, we can see we have two documents allocated. And what this will allow is only for Sean as a contact to have access to those documents. If Sheldon were to log in, since he is a secretarial contact, he will only be able to see information under the secretarial section, which there is none. So this is just making sure that we are adhering to document security. Obviously, this is extremely important when it comes to the POPI Act, and we're sharing correct information with our clients. So this is vital that you have this information and you can control that security between your CRM systems and who you're sharing those documents with. Keeping in mind, email is not really secure anymore. This secure portal is far more efficient and far more secure when sharing documents with clients. All right, so I just want to quickly show off a little bit on the CDM section. I just want to sort of show off how we can share information very easily to the CDM system. So here I've got Rudolph as a test again, and this is his provisional. So from within the provisional, you can now share documents straight to that contact. So you can see here we have his provisional. He's earned very well over the year, and we can then generate a letter. So as soon as I click on generate letter, the system will generate a letter for me and allocate it in the document section. And it automatically, because of the integration, syncs to CDM. So we can see it's put it into the provisional section, and I get a Word document as well as a PDF. Now, I'm using the example of a provisional here, but you can use this across the system. If you want to share core forms from your register to CDM, straight to your CDM contact, you're more than welcome to. As well as for different sections such as CRM and other areas within GreatSoft where we have CDM integration. Okay, so from here, I'd like to now share this document to the client. So what I can do is just click on our action button. I can see a preview of the document chat, and I can just click on publish, and then I can just say save. Now, what will happen is the system will automatically pick up that this document needs to be shared with the client. you can come here and you can see that the document has been published, so the client now has access to it, or rather the contact has access to it. And since Sean is the only contact associated as a tax contact with this client, only he will have access. All right, so what I've done here is I've just gonna log in as a user. And as soon as you, as a user, log in, so obviously this would be your clients accessing that information. This brings us to our next point that I'd like to raise within the new features within CDM. We have a little pop-up that immediately pops up where you have 2 new files, 1 document for signing. So when you share a file with a contact, you can actually mark it that it must be signed by the client, and it will then go into the special status signifying that it needs a signature. Now you can quickly just click on show files and it will display all the files that have recently been shared with you. Also, if you are part of more than 1 company in the system, it will show you all the files across every single company. You may have 1 person that has a lot of companies or entities that are associated with a group, but all communication must go to that 1 person. CDM completely caters for that for you. So from here, we can see all my files that I'm currently dealing with. In the top left is that RB test that we just shared. And we can also see there's another document signature required on the bottom right here. So from here, if I just simply click on this document, I'll now be able to see the document. Here, me as a client, I'll be able to see my calculation. I can see my payment reference number automatically that I can easily make payment to SARS. And as I said, this doesn't have to be a tax document. You can share anything with your clients. Okay, so let's just close that. What we can also do, so this brings me on to my next point, is we can automatically, or rather we can specify a user's signature on a document going forward. So I'm just going to use the example of this PDF I just created. We're going to come down here to the edit button. And I'm going to insert a contact client. So here at the top, we can just simply click on this and it will give us an option to specify the area in which we want our client to sign. So if I just scroll down on the page and maybe we move it to the right, here's where I'd like to now apply my my signature, or sorry, the signature of the client, and I can just say apply. It will then just refresh. So that's all fine and well, saying that the client needs to sign there. But what happens if you have more than 1 client that needs to sign the document? CDM has now catered for this. So what we can do is we can just edit the PDF again. I can navigate down to the bottom of the page. I can simply click on this block and I can then set a name. So now the system will automatically go and take a look at who are the available contacts that are associated with this entity, and it will give you an option of to whom you'd like to allocate the signature space to. So here in this case, we want to obviously do it with a tax contact, so I can actually specify that Sean needs to sign this document, and I can click apply. You can see now at the top right, the name of the block says Sean Minor, and this will be reflected inside the portal too, that the client then would need to sign in that area. All right. The next thing that I'd like to show, we now have a function where we can actually upload documents straight to CDM, and we can specify certain properties of that document as we upload them. So from here, I'd like to upload a document. So I can just simply click on the upload button. I can drag and drop the file here, or I can browse for something. So I've got a document that I prepared earlier. I can just drag and drop. So from here, you can see that the name of the document is test, and we can click on profile. What this allows me to do is now I can specify certain aspects and properties of this document before it's even uploaded. This gives me the ability to change the status, for instance, between draft and final, which I'm going to be visiting in a second. We can change the matter, so you can have certain matters on each document that you can then go back and search for. We also have custom fields. So maybe you'd like to specify the different document type as you upload it, as well as keywords. These keywords you can type in and you can tag to a document that you can then search for on later. All right. Once you're happy with your selection, you can say upload. And the document will now upload into the CDM system and with all the extra properties that you have now assigned to that document while uploading. All right. What I'm going to do is just go into the properties of this document, and I'm going to archive it. All right. So from here, what we can also do is go to the archive section. So a new feature that we've recently brought out to the CDM system is the bulk archive. So we have different functionalities that you can do within the archive section now. So all the documents that get archived land up in one section in this archive section, and we can then see the document name. We can see what it's which folder it was for and which client it was for. Now, if we take a look at the top right, we have two new options: a restore all section or a delete all section. So what I can do is I can actually say delete all, and it will permanently delete all of these. Alternatively, we can also say restore all, and it will restore all of these. Very nice as well. What we can also do is drag in a filter here. And I can put in a date, so today's date. Then I can get all the documents that were archived today, and I can say let's restore all because they should not have been archived in the first place. The system will obviously now take all the documents that are in your current view and restore it back to its previous places. Obviously, you can do the same with the delete all and delete in bulk. All right. Next thing I just want to show off is with regards to staff divisional notifications. Staff divisional notifications is referring to that divisional security I spoke about in the beginning. And this is very useful when it comes to alerting a department or maybe a head or a certain person within a department when any sort of action relating to that department is uploaded. So let's quickly take a look. I'm going to navigate to my templates, and then I'm going to navigate to my client templates here. This is where I can set up my different divisions for my clients. So here we've got a secretarial and a tax division. You can also create more divisions. So maybe you want an audit division or accounting division, you can do that too. Here under folders is where I can allocate the different divisions to and which folders. But under divisions, when I add a new division, what I can do is I can call it audit, and I can actually specify the employee in which I'd like to allocate as notifications. So let's say we allocate Blake. He's in charge of the audit department, and I can say update. So when any sort of action happens within that folder and that division, Blake will be notified and he will get an email alerting him of that information. All right. Okay. Next up, I see we're running a little bit out of time, but let's push forward. So something that is not advertised a lot is within the CDM system, we actually have our Office plugins. Now, for everyone that is using CDM, this is already available to you. You can start using it immediately. I'd like to show off where to find this information. So if you're using CDM, you would navigate to the document section. We have a blue folder at the top of the screen on the right, and you can just click that. And from here, you can see we have our training documents, notices, bulletins, and so on. But we also have this Microsoft Office CDM support. So from here, you'll notice that we have different programs: an Outlook add-in, PowerPoint, Calendar, Excel, and Word. What you can do is you can just simply click on these links here. You can see at the bottom of the screen, we have a download option. You can then download that program to your computer and then run it. So once you run it, what does this do? This allows us to have a full plugin when it comes to Microsoft products. So here I have an example. So on the as soon as you come into whatever program it is, let's use Excel in the time being. I can click on the CDM ribbon at the top, and I can then start to actually do a few different options with CDM. So firstly, you'd have to log in So that's the first thing it will prompt you to do. You just need to put in your username and password, and then you'll get this tab on the right where you can actually navigate between different options. So from here, what I've done is I've just loaded up our clients that are currently in the system. I can see here is RB test, so I can just go to that, and then I can navigate to tax, and I can navigate to provisionals. So from here, I can see we have a couple different documents that are currently sitting under this client. We have an Excel, a Word, or PDF. Now, I'm currently using Excel, but I don't have to. If I want to open up this PDF, I simply click on the button. The system will then download our PDF for us, and you can then see it will open up on your own PC. So even though I'm working in the cloud, I'm pushing information from my personal computer up into the cloud, we have a full synchronized system between the two that are constantly, allowing you to download information as well as upload information. We can even see here at the bottom, we have a little signature section, so you can simply click there to sign the PDF from your desktop. A couple other things that you can also see from here is with regards to saving. So if I'd like to save this information or this document I'm currently working on, maybe it isn't in the CDM system yet, I can save into CDM or save as into CDM. Then something else I'd like to show off is with regards to our plugin for Outlook. So here I've received an email from the GreatSoft Great Academy CDM website. That's just notifying me that I have my provisional tax calculation that has been sent to me. I can click on the link to simply view the PDF, and I can also click and go into the client plugin. But I'm going to use this as an example. What we can also do is we can right click on this email, and we can say save mail to CDM. So because we have this plugin, you can immediately save this document or this email straight into the CDM system. Now, what you'd have to do is just specify to which folder or which client you'd like to save this to. So we can just click the drop down here, and we can see that we need to maybe save it to Alphabet Schools. Right. You can also specify the category, matter, status, and so on. Right. Once I'm happy with that, I can just say save, and it's been uploaded successfully. You'll also get a little notification here in the category saying that it has been stored in CDM. So this is the power of integration between different systems, and CDM and GreatSoft have been great at it, making sure that we are connected between every program that we possibly can to make sure that your lives are easier when it comes to saving documents and sharing it with your clients. All right, a couple of other things I just want to quickly run through just to try bring your attention to a few nice to haves that we have in the CDM system. Something that we refer to as custom views. So within CDM, you can navigate between many different areas. You could be searching for documents. Here, what I've done is I've searched for all my individuals in the database. So we can see here entity type is IN, that's referring to an individual. But what I can also do is click at the top left corner of the screen here, and I can see my different views that I've saved in CDM. So here we have a company's view, we have a core, a CO 2021, that's referring to the provisionals, and I can actually swap between these views and quickly navigate to a different screen or filtering section I've set up earlier. So from here, you can then navigate between these different screens, and it just makes life a little bit easier. Okay, next, I just want to quickly show off the document status workflow. So we can just pick a client chat. Let's pick company A. And I'm going to edit this PDF that we see on the screen. So from here, you'll notice that the status is set to draft. Within CDM, you can actually specify what status documents get uploaded to. So at the moment, as soon as the document is uploaded, it's first put to a draft status. What we can do is we can also change it to a final status. So if you have the correct security and it's been set up correctly, you can then change the status of this document to final, and then it will for you. You can then publish it to a client. You can send and publish the notification so that that client will receive an email, obviously looking at the security as to who is allowed to see this document. And this allows you to do certain things. So within the CDM system, you can actually specify employee security and where they should be and should not be sharing documents to your clients, managing that POPI security and making sure that we have all that information available to us. Okay, staff's folder security. So this is just my last point. So I do see that we have a question up. I'm just going to quickly run through this, and then we can manage that. So from here, what we can do is CDM is also a great system in which you can manage internal documents for your firm. So what we can do is we can actually create a folder specifically for certain employees within the system, and we can keep that information there, and only those employees can access it. So let's just quickly take a look at how that works. So I have an internal document here. Oh, sorry, an internal folder here. And what I can actually do is I can come into the properties of this folder, and I can say I'd like to restrict staff access. What this means is it will allow me to actually select different individuals, and this information is all pulling from your GreatSoft CRM system as to who is available or who can log into the system and see this folder. So I'm going to say that Blake should see it. Who else? Let's say maybe Peter, and we can then say update. So you'll notice now the folder goes red. This is indicating that this folder has security, but the administrator has allowed you to have access into this folder. So I can then go in and I can see that information. No one else in the system that has access to this will even see that the folder exists, making sure that it is secure for the firm. All right. That brings me to an end for our the CDM demo. So the question in CDM, does the client have to sign electronically? If signing manually, how does the client send it back? So that's a great question. What we can do is, let me showcase this. So within CDM, what we can actually do is we can download the document to our PC, and then we can do whatever we like with it. If it's a PDF and we'd like to then make sure that we sign it through Adobe, we can do so. So you can click the download button at the bottom here. Will then prompt me where I'd like to download this to, and open it up. And then from here, you can use the normal PDF tools that are available to us, where you can initial pages, you can sign different pages, and you can sign the document. Once you're done with that, you have the opportunity within the system to upload a document. So you can see here under my folders, and then we can actually navigate to the certain sections, and we can then upload this document straight from our folder to the business. So I can then select the document I've now signed and send it back up. The relevant people within the firm will get notifications saying that this document has been uploaded for their attention. So that is absolutely an option. All right, I'm going to end my side of the presentation here. We just want to highlight a few key aspects here. So firstly, please join us for GreatSoft classroom training in November. So in November, we'll be offering classroom training to all of our clients. At a small fee, you can join a training session. This training session will be available to all clients, and we'll be showcasing all the new features in GreatSoft. So one thing you want to make sure is that you join us for the classroom training. This will enable you to see all the new features GreatSoft has put into the system. We've worked very hard at trying to make GreatSoft a better product. And by attending these training sessions, you'll be able to see this information, you'll be able to use it properly, and we'll be able to actually use GreatSoft to its full potential. Please contact Byron with his email address at the bottom, and he will be able to give you all the details that we will be covering in our classroom training. All right, next, what we're going to be doing is going through our questions. So I am going to open up the floor and allow the other guys to come in if they want to come in, and we can answer any questions that anyone has. Okay, I see there's one question here. Any training sessions in Namibia? Absolutely. We're actually in October doing a specialty Namibian style training. We will be covering tax for Namibia, secretarial, as well as our billing structures for Namibia. So be sure to join us. Please, you can contact Byron, and he will be able to give you more information. Byron's contact details are up on the screen now.
On that note,
Yeah.
I've also shared the link to the GreatSoft Academy website in the chat. So for any of you who are interested, you can just click on that link. It will take you straight through to the site. You'll see the different courses and options available to you. Click on it, sign up, and yeah, easy as that.
Perfect. Thank you, Sheldon.
Cool. Yeah. Don't see any further questions. I don't know if anyone's got anything. You're welcome to pop it in the chat. I'll give another 2 more minutes if there's any further questions. Otherwise, we can wrap it up.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Cool. Yes, webinar definitely be uploaded to YouTube. We'll see if we can get a mailer out as well with the link. But as I said, if you go browse over to YouTube, go search GreatSoft, you'll find our channel there. There's already a couple of recordings up there for payroll, secretarial. I think we've done one for Paya. We've done a couple for Planner. So there's already some content there on the previous webinars to go and browse. Yeah, just I think give us a little while to get this up onto YouTube, obviously.
Feel free to also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. We have a lot of content that's always going up there. We do a lot of small webinars, product updates, product features, little infographics. Be sure to follow us so that we can also share that information and you can make sure that you're ahead of the game when it comes to GreatSoft.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for the GreatSoft team. Also, feel free to contact our support center. The email is support@greatsoft.co.za. If you have any questions, feel free to contact your account manager or relevant consultants if you have any further questions that you can help with. As well as us personally, feel free. Here's the emails at the bottom of your screen. You can always just pop us an email and we'll be glad to help you out.
Perfect. Thanks, everyone.
Cool. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Awesome day. Keep well. Cheers.
Have a good day.